Okay, where were we? Part 3 of our exploration of natural law on A Philosophy for Life. Welcome. This part is about human nature, still all based on Mark Passio's Natural Law Seminar. That's Mark Passio of whatonearthishappening.com. This part is about that endless debate about, nature versus nurture. Are human beings born in a certain way, or is it about what they experience when, growing up and being brought up by parents and society and culture? I would say it's largely nurture because human beings are programmable. Like literally programmable like a computer. That's the human condition. Human beings are programmable much like computers. So that is very important, right? They are not computers. It's just the brain, in many ways, is like a computer. Using the computer terminology, Mark Passio writes, like a computer, if a human being has a bad file system format, i.e. the conditions during a child's formative years, a bad operating system, i.e. culture, and bad software programs, i.e. erroneous, rigid, and dogmatic beliefs, their output, i.e. behavior, onto the screen, which is life, will also be bad and will contribute to deteriorating conditions on a mass scale. Like a computer, the behavior of a human being will largely depend on its programming, which is the quality of the information put into it, which enables it to process and create efficiently. So garbage in, garbage out. Quality in, quality out. I don't think this is very controversial, so we might just move on from here. That being said, garbage in, garbage out, quality in, quality out. Let's look at how our reality is built. So at the very bottom, at the very basis, is knowledge, or lack thereof. That's quite clear. I mean, knowledge is the basis to take the next step for everything. I mean, if you don't know about something, you're unaware of it, and there's no way you're gonna consciously act upon it. You might be a pawn if you act without knowledge, say, but if you want to take meaningful actions, you need knowledge. Once the available information is known, the question is, do we understand it? Because you can know that there is natural law, but you can still not understand it. But you need to understand it to make decisions based on your knowledge. And once you can make decisions based on your knowledge because you understand it, you can take action in this world based on the understanding of your knowledge, and that is wisdom. And Mark Passio emphasizes here that wisdom is not a passive thing, it is an active thing. Wisdom is the action taken based on your knowledge and understanding. This I found very interesting because, to me, wisdom was equivalent to knowledge most of my life, the way I would use the word wisdom. But it's really the action taken based upon the understanding of knowledge. So a wise person doesn't just sit there and meditate and talk and pontificate. A wise person takes action based on the knowledge that they've gained. You have these three things, a result is generated. If everything is present, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, order is going to result in reality. If no knowledge is available, therefore no understanding, therefore you cannot act wisely, chaos will ensue. Then Mark Passio gets into the principles of natural law, and that's the part where you now need to maybe check out the seminar, because it'll take a bit of time to explain all the different principles. The word principle means first things. It's basically that which needs to be there for you to do anything, and that's why I have principles, my friends, because if you don't have the first things, nothing meaningful can follow. The principles of natural law, according to Mark Passio, are the principle of mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. I won't go into all of these principles in detail because I actually don't think you need to understand them all fully to understand that natural law is a real thing which operates in this world. It's the same knowledge that is taught in Hermeticism. So if you're familiar with Hermeticism, you'll know those principles. The principle of cause and effect is really the central thing. I mean, that to me is what encompasses natural law in a nutshell. What goes around comes around. That is what natural law is. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. And if you apply the scientific method in your life, you will observe this. This is not an ideology. This is a law which you can discover. It's a highly individual process because obviously your life is your life. You just have to identify the causes that led to the effect and then change that cause. So the plane of effects is the physical world. This is where manifested realities have formed due to their underlying causes. The plane of effects constitute that which has already occurred. As such, no power to effect change lies here, because that which has already occurred cannot unoccur. It has become that which is, or simply truth. Human consciousness seems to be trapped upon the plane of effects, meaning that humanity as a whole remains ignorant of the underlying causes, which they themselves set into motion and which lead to self-inflicted suffering in their lives. One example, blind belief in authority is a cause for a lot of suffering. So we need to move human consciousness to the plane of causality if we want to solve issues. That's the mental world. Where the plane of effects is the physical world, the plane of causality is the mental world, and this is where causes are set into motion prior to manifesting as formed realities. This plane of causality constitutes the causal factors, the why, which underlie and precede all manifested things and events. All power to effect change lies on this plane, the mental plane. Human consciousness must move from the plane of effects to the plane of causality in order for human beings to understand the causal factors of the conditions which they are collectively manifesting in their lives. Only then will humanity be able to co-create their shared reality on a conscious level, rather than an unconscious one. So yeah, that's like we are so stuck in the physical, struggling to find solutions to the problems by giving people more power. We don't realize it's all here. The belief in authority. It's illusional, it's illusory, and it's not real. It cannot be. There cannot be such a thing as authority over another human being. You cannot control another human being, and you need to realize that in your head. Only then will we be able to change the underlying causes. So the plane of causality, the mental world, the why, all power to effect change lies here. Thus, this is where human consciousness must go. Plane of effects, the physical world, the manifested reality, no power to effect change lies here. But this is where human consciousness is trapped. Which brings us directly to the spiritual currency. Our spiritual currencies are time and attention. That's why it's called spending time, paying attention. Whatever information or endeavors we put our time and attention toward, we end up getting something in return for that investment. This return could come in the form of knowledge, understanding, skills, experience, and empowerment if we invest our spiritual currencies wisely. I mean, that doesn't really need much more further explanation, I think, because what you spend your time on, what you pay attention to, is obviously what is going to take over your life. And if it's bullshit, then you made a bullshit investment, and nothing good is going to come out of it. Therefore, we should seek to improve the quality of our attention by placing it upon information that is capable of improving both ourselves and the human condition as a whole. Such an effort will also constitute a valuable investment of our time. We should ask ourselves, what am I spending my time on? What am I paying attention to? And most importantly, what kind of quality am I getting in return for these investments of my spiritual currency? So to sum this up and slowly bring this to an end, the natural law, aka law of cause and effect, or the law of attraction, karma or moral law, or the golden rule, it all is one and the same. And obviously different mystery traditions, different cultures have used different words, different ways to describe this. I hope this little exploration has convinced you that it's a real thing, and it's not just, something that sounds good. It's now boils down to your care, whether you care to implement it in your life. So a few quotes to end this. If a nation expects to be ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be. Ignorance and freedom are mutually exclusive. Thomas Jefferson said that. Samuel Adams said, "No people will tamely surrender their liberties, nor can any be easily subdued, when knowledge is diffused and virtue is preserved. On the contrary, when people are universally ignorant and debauched in their manners, they will sink under their own weight without the aid of foreign invaders." And Socrates said, "The only good is knowledge, and the only evil is ignorance." And Mark Passio himself says, "Willful ignorance in the presence of knowledge is the measure of a bad person."